Greetings. We continue part 3 of the witnessing ministry of the two witnesses today in Revelation chapter 11. Since the apparent death and resurrection of this world leader, the world has believed him to be invincible. Note the two questions of Revelation 13 and verse 4 that we'll come to. Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? During the days of their ministry, these two witnesses stand in opposition to the beast. They're compared to the beast. Their power is compared to the power of the beast. There appears to be a great stalemate between them for 1,260 days. Then God allows the two witnesses to be killed. The great deception is now finished. Until Jesus Christ himself appears to thwart the lust-filled dreams of the world. Verses 8 and 9 speak of the witnessing by the beast people, and the corpse of them upon the street of the great city, whichever spiritually she is being called Sodom and Egypt, where also the Lord of us, he was crucified. Now that's Jerusalem, but notice the spiritual description. She's Sodom and she's Egypt. Verse 9, and they are seeing out of the peoples and the tribes and the tongues and the nations the course of them. Even 3½ days, the corpses of them, they are not allowing to be placed into a grave. The display of corpses, and I quote, and the corpse of them will be lying upon the street of the great particular city. Which city is that? No doubt is left by the modifiers which are employed. Whichever city she is being called spiritually, Sodom and Egypt, and where also the Lord of them, of us, of the two witnesses, he was crucified. There can be no doubt that the two witnesses are slain in Jerusalem. That's where Jesus was crucified. The corpses of the two witnesses are left in the streets as a public spectacle. In this day, Jerusalem is spiritually likened unto promiscuous Sodom, and also likened unto idolatrous Egypt. The duration of the display of the corpses, and they're seeing out of the people and tongues and tribes and nations the corpses of them 3½ days. Now scholars have long understood that this verse means that the whole world will observe this scene. However, through the years, many scoffed at it as an impossibility. And yet today, with the use of current technologies, we can readily see its possibility. Then note the demeaning of the display. They're not allowing the corpses of them to be placed into a grave. There have only been a few tyrants in history who were not allowed a proper burial. And yet we find that the public opinion and outcry against these two witnesses will be such as there will be no burial given to their bodies. Verse 11 speaks of the well-wishing by the beast people, and the ones dwelling upon the earth, they're rejoicing over them, and they're being glad. And they shall send gifts to one another, because these two particular prophets, they tormented the ones dwelling upon the earth. So notice the rejoicing of the inhabitants. They are rejoicing over them, they're being glad. I call to mind the scene from the classic movie The Wizard of Oz, where the Munchkins are rejoicing over the death of the Wicked Witch. On a more somber note, though, I think more of the scene where an American serviceman was dragged through the streets of Somalia and the burning of the American flag amidst such revelry. Then there's the receiving of gifts. They shall send gifts to one another because these two prophets tormented the ones dwelling upon the earth. Notice the classic transference revealed here. The two witnesses prophesied the plagues would come, and God sent those plagues upon the earth. Yet as far as the inhabitants of the earth are concerned, these two prophets were the source of their torments. So they rejoice because they believe the victory over them means release from further torments or judgments by God. But they are wrong, as we will see.